Hello and welcome to the Nintendo Network. Pokemon is an interesting phenomenon if you really think about it. It's held on a pretty high pedestal, well known to the point that Pokemon in general is in the lexicon of the entire world basically. And there's quite a few Pokemon that are also known by non-video game fans, Pikachu in particular. And honestly, during the July 22nd Presents, I felt off watching it. Now, in the past few Presents have had a common theme. They go over their mobile outings, a little bit here about the main game, and recently other branches of the brand as a whole, like the Netflix series for an example. And on paper, this isn't that bad. To the businessmen at Game Freak, it makes a lot of sense. But to the gamers, where the brand was birthed, a lot of us were bored. We didn't feel it was worth our time, and honestly, this post by the NCS Master on Twitter, this could have been an email, hit the nail on the head for a lot of us. Keyword being us. But this goes so much deeper than just the console gamer. Pokemon has, for lack of a better term, evolved over the years. Truthfully, they evolved long before any other video game brand. It is just in the last 5 years or so we got Sonic movies, Mario movie in 2023, and another one coming out, a Zelda movie, and God knows what else is beyond that. But Pokemon has been playing the game of being more than a game, but a brand for almost since its inception. Pokemon isn't just the games, and I think that's a hard point for many of us to understand, and for myself as well, and I get it. But I think we need to take a look back at the history of Pokemon, how it's evolved, and took what many others have done and did it about 1,000 times better. The original games came out in Japan in 1996 with Red and Green, and eventually ported with Red and Blue. Over the next few years, the games were ported over to the rest of the world, and even a special Pikachu edition was released, again updating sprites and other things and let a Pikachu follow you around. These games became hits. These games were what truly opened the floodgates. Because with the success of them came one of the most powerful and influential things of our time.
Merchandising, where the real money from the movie is made.
Movies, games, TV shows, and so much more. Merchandising was everywhere. You couldn't go into a store without seeing a Pikachu staring at you with its cold, dead eyes. This was in part to the popularity of the Pokemon TV show. Starting in 1997 in Japan and 98 in America, this was many's first anime. Dragon Ball Z was mine and many others, but parents in the 90s were more likely to allow younger kids to watch this than Dragon Ball. It started running daily and then became an anchor series for the kids' WB Saturday morning. They used Pokemon in many of their advertisings, bumpers, cross promotions, and so much more. You would even find Pokemon merchandising at the now, I think no longer existing, Warner Brothers stores. It's like the Disney store. They both don't really exist anymore, unfortunately. Side note, both stores are magical and amazing. It's also weird to think we live in a timeline where I could buy both Pokemon and Gilmore Girl merchandise in the same place. Now, at the end of the 90s, we got the first, and I do mean first, Pokemon movie. This was the event of a generation, and the devils behind it knew how to market it. It was advertised literally everywhere. You had news stations talking about it, kids lined up to see it, and they even released 4 promo cards to the TCG, randomly giving it to you with the purchase of a ticket, meaning to collect all 4 you'd have to get at least 4 tickets, if you're lucky. Don't worry, we will go over the TCG soon. I was there, I got details guys. But with the promos, be happy you weren't a Digimon fan. They had them with their one movie they had, with 12 of them randomly inserted into the tickets. I just wanted Diaboramon. But the first movie made $172 million at the worldwide box office. It also sold 10 million home video units. It ended up being the 24th highest grossing movie of the year in America. In the late 90s, if you weren't Disney or Pixar, that just wasn't a thing. It wasn't how the world worked. Plus, look at this soundtrack. If this isn't the most 90s image there is, I don't know what is. Along with the movie, Burger King not only produced toys, but 57 different ones, ranging from keychains, beanbags, squirters, and more. And in comparison, Happy Meal toys from McDonald's normally range like 10 to 12 toys. There are some special cases, but 57 was unheard of, unless you talk about the time McDonald's released 101 different Dalmatian toys for the movie. But how are we expected to collect all these toys? I mean, the past few years we've been indoctrinated to catch them all.
Cross-promotional, deal mechanics, revenue streams, jargon, synergy.
That's the best presentation I've ever seen. Get started right away.
See, Burger King hosted a trading night every Tuesday for, I don't know how long the promotion went on, but so you could trade your toys, the little cards you got, and even bring your TCG cards and games to battle. Oh, and while you're here, get another Big Kids meal and try to grab a Mewtwo toy. Like, this is devilishly evil, let's be real. They even had gold cards to collect. You thought you were the coolest when you got one of these. Also, can we take a little side note and talk about how Poliwhirl was everywhere when they first released Pokemon? Like, of all the choices they made, Pikachu, Charizard, Togepi, Mewtwo, and even Jigglypuff was popular, but Poliwhirl? Did they really think Poliwhirl was going to take the world by storm? There's probably like 100 different choices at that point to choose from. Heck, put Donphan on it. He was showcased in the movie to tease Gen 2. Am I on a rant? I'm on a rant. Now, by the time Pokemon the Movie 2000 came out, the hype had started to die down just ever so slightly. They still got promos, and it was covered by media and everything. By the time Pokemon 3 the movie, seriously the lowest effort title, was the last Pokemon movie to be released internationally by Warner Brothers until 2019's Detective Pikachu. A year later, we got Pokemon Forever, better name than the last, which was actually distributed much more limited, and this time by 4Kids Entertainment and Miramax, who is a subsidiary of Disney, so that's a little knowledge nugget apparently. And when I say limited, it went from the third movie having 2,067 theaters showing it to only 249. Then the fifth movie, which I didn't even realize hit theaters truthfully, only released in under 200. And until 2017, Pokemon the Movie I Choose You, this is the last Pokemon animated movie to hit the big screen. But every year, movies would come out straight to DVD. But during all this time, the Pokemon TCG was running, and still to this very day. Originally distributed by Wizards of the Coast of Magic the Gathering fame, by the time we got to the Ruby Sapphire era, Nintendo had taken over. The game still exists today, and I'd be shocked if you are watching this and didn't know that. But what you may not have known is how in-depth the game is with competition. The game had leagues where you can meet other trainers, battle, trade cards, and even earn rewards like badges and promo cards. The original Pokemon League is where I met some of my closest friends, Matt, Jason, and Evan, who we still try to hang out monthly to this very day. From there, you could go to pre-release events to get your hands on the newest cards a bit early, lower level tournaments like cities, states, regionals, and then nationals, but then there was Worlds. And when Pokemon TCG says they have a Worlds Championship, they mean World Championships. Representatives from different countries, translators at tables, all starting back in 2004. The championship are also expanded to include the mainline games, Go, Unite, Pokken for a little bit as well. They really encompassed all of Pokemon. It is funny that in the first 8 years of World Championship, it was always in the US. I mean, Hawaii was a couple years, that's still technically US, but still. It eventually expanded to Canada, the UK, and Japan as well, and it had been consistent every year beyond 2020 and 2021 due to the COVID-19 global pandemic. A Pokemon retrospective like this, which the video didn't originally plan to be, but here we are, is not complete without talking about 2016 and Pokemon Go. Let me get one thing off my chest. This game really should not have survived its opening year, month, day. It was plagued with downtime, connection issues, lacks of ways to get Pokeballs for many, and so much more. But my goodness, I don't think the world has ever been closer to world peace than when we all try to run to catch our Snorlax. Like seriously, this game resonated with so many people. It was played by everyone. Young, old, male, female, anything, anyone, everyone played this game. It's one of those time periods that if you didn't live through it, it's hard to comprehend. And people played through all of those issues. I look back and I can't imagine any other IP that could have survived this, and really I don't even know how Pokemon survived it. The original Go was honestly pretty hollow. Catch Pokemon simply, put in gym, defeat gym, etc. Now I don't play it that much anymore. I think it's been over a year since I've opened the app, but it has expanded quite a bit. They've included Mega Evolution mechanics, Dynamax, PvP battles, and heck, Go is even now part of the Pokemon World Championships. Pokemon has had its ups and downs. There was a time where as a fan I didn't see it surviving, around the Ruby Sapphire era. I really love those games, and the card game around that era was a lot of fun too. But attendance was low at leagues and tournaments. And by the Ruby Sapphire era, the anime was entering its 6th season, and like most shows, there's going to be a drop-off. It just happens naturally. A good number of kids that grew up with Pokemon at the ages of 8 or 10 were now 14 and 16, and Pokemon was starting to be deemed a kid's thing. Interest was just going to naturally drop off. But that is just what it seemed like on the surface. Although in the world view, Pokemon was tapering off, and even in some of the facets of the Pokemon world, the video games were still killing the charts. Let's take a look. These are all numbers as of March 31st, 2025. So Red, Green, and Blue sold 31.37 million copies worldwide. All these numbers are worldwide, so I don't have to keep repeating myself. And I'm only going to include main entries, so no yellow, crystal, emeralds, etc. Gold and silver sold 23.73 million copies. Ruby and Sapphire sold 16.22 copies. Moving to Gen 4, Diamond and Pearl sold 17.67 copies. Gen 5 had Black and White at 15.64 million copies. And before I go on, time for Pokerant. See, I was there. I was playing these games as they were released. And if you look now, Black and White are put on a pedestal as one of the best in the series. And you will see people say it has always been like that. Not that it isn't a good game, I like them a lot, but a lot of people, in fact the majority of the conversation online was, these were some of the worst games of the series and the nails were being hammered into the Pokemon coffin. But people, including those who were on the bandwagon, will worship them today. I hate revisionist gaming history. Look, you can relook at games in your past and have different feelings from now to then, but it was a bandwagon thing to hate it. People need to own it, admit that it is a good game, even if back then you said it wasn't. Even if it was your actual opinion or bandwagon thing, our taste can change. It was like how in the early 2000s, everyone crapped on every Mega Man game just because it was more of the same. First off, no. There was a few different iterations of the Blue Bomber going on at once, and they were not all the same. But it was just cool to bash Mega Man. Were they all perfect? No. Were some downright bad? Absolutely. But one of the only real complaints that I will admit is true was the output of the games was so high. There were so many Mega Man games year after year after year. Sorry, I went from Pokemon sales number to history revisionist to Mega Man. Moving on to Gen 6, X and Y sold 16.76 million. Sun and Moon sold 16.33 million. Numbers are looking pretty consistent until the Switch area, they jump about 10 million. Sword and Shield sold 26.72 and Scarlet and Violet sold 26.79 million. These numbers do tell a story. It came out of the gate ready and did taper a little bit, but more recently, especially with the Switch, numbers grew again. Partly because of how widespread the Switch became, but also because those 8 to 10 year olds back then who grew up with Gen 1 and 2 are now adults with kids, and it's fun to introduce them to what you enjoyed as a kid. I'm a prime example of this. Starting with Pokemon Sword, my daughter Colette wanted to play Pokemon. She watched me play a little bit of Moon, but after I was done with Sword, she wanted to try it out, and she had so much fun. With all the negativity that Sword actually got, it was really fun to see someone at that age in the view that they had of the game. Not this negative, this tree looks horrible. They were just having fun, enjoying the core gameplay. It humbled me, honestly. So when Scarlet and Violet came out, I got both, allowing her to choose what version she wanted, Violet, and I took Scarlet. We played together, we traded, we battled, we had tons of fun. Introducing the next generation to something that has meant so much to me is special, and I can't thank Game Freak and Nintendo enough. She is her own person, she has her own likes and dislikes, but she also wants to do the things that I want to do sometimes. I'm going to get the Switch 1 version of ZA Legends just so she can play it when I'm done, or on days I don't play it and she just takes it from my Switch 2. I have a Switch 2, so I'll do the upgrade thing, but she still has a Switch 1 because I can't afford 2 Switch 2s. When the next mainline series comes out, I'll do the 2-pack again. You know, if it's not Switch 2 exclusive. This meant so much to me, as the first toy, a stuffed animal I bought her before she was even born, and I gave to her in the hospital, was a small Entei plush. A plush she still holds dear and is always on her bed. And if you've seen Pokemon 3 the movie, you truly understand that. But there is something special about Pokemon. It has lasted so long, it has endured, it has grown with us. For the few of us that have never given it up, it has always been there. It has helped us through those dark times. And that's rare. Things have survived, but normally they get revived after a period of inactivity. Look at Ninja Turtles, Transformers, My Little Pony, and many more. But not Pokemon. That is why it's so special to so many. To me. That's why the presents in July felt flat to so many. We wanted more, almost selfishly. But, and I'm right there with many, we forgot Pokemon is much more than a game, more than an app, more than a plush. It's a brand. And calling it a brand makes it seem corporate, hollow, and unloving. I understand that feeling, but if we still feel something for Pokemon, it has meaning. But we must understand with brands, not everything is meant to appeal to everyone. And that's okay. We can't be angry. We must accept, enjoy, love, and cherish the parts that mean so much to us. and perhaps be more open to explore the other parts of the Pokemon world. You know, as long as they don't continuously focus on Gen 1 like they always do. Pokemon might be a brand, but it's so important to my upbringing, myself, and my family even, and I'll always have a soft spot for it in my heart. Thank you for joining me here at the Nintendo Network. 2 things to comment on, guys. Name your favorite Pokemon memory, and what's your favorite Pokemon? I think you guys can pick my favorite memory. My favorite Pokemon is Mew. Let me know in the comments below. If you like this, hit that like button, subscribe, and join us on my Discord, please. This is the Nintendo Network, signing off.